Right, now we're going to get into putting our substrate into our enclosure. It's bioactive, so it's meant to grow plants and have the microorganisms to break down the poo. So we need to build it up with all the essentials. We start with a water layer, which we create by getting these clay balls. Now you can get them in reptile shops, very expensive there. Best bet is buying bulk in a hydroponic shop. It's much cheaper that way. You want to layer about, I don't know, 40 mil high. That goes first. Then you have your pet mesh. That's what one layer is. It's pretty fine. I think one layer is okay. 2 layers is extra safe. That goes on top of your clay balls, and then we start putting our soil in. So for a desert enclosure, I go with garden soil mix and organic compost. I try to get organic as much as possible without any added fertilizers, just for the added safety of the snakes, although I've never seen my snakes digging around into the earth and swallowing those little pellets. Once we've got on that there, I haven't got it here, but I will get some charcoal mixed in there. That's really good for the microorganisms in there. Then a bit of river sand, and I mix that with the Australian desert sand that I get from Reptile One. It's red. Give that a good layer, and final layer is I use this decorative pebble. Get it from Bunnings here. They're about 5-10 mil in diameter, and it just makes it look more like a stony desert. But that's more for decoration. The other thing that I'm trying this time around, particularly with the desert enclosure, is I've got 3 60 mil long by 100 mil diameter PVC pipes. I'm going to glue up around there and then dip it in the sand, just so it's got a sandy finish, and that will go around my plants and down to the soil level, so that I can water the plants and give them good water without absolutely soaking the enclosure and lifting the humidity too high. So that's a peculiarity for the desert enclosure, so I'm going to try that. Pretty much it. Layer it in and see how you go. I bought some grasses to put in the enclosure, and we've got 2 grow lights, so everything should be pretty good. The last thing is the microorganisms, your cleanup crew. You can buy those online from good pet supply stores. Kellyville Pets springs to mind. What you'll usually get is a set of springtails and slaters, or we call them butcher boys in New South Wales. I also, quite frankly, go up to the garden into the leaf litter and grab some active leaf litter and chuck that into the cage and let the bugs do their things. Haven't had any problems with any of the snakes from doing that. So that's what we need. We'll now see how we all put it all together. So first thing I'm going to do is clean up the PVC with some acetone. Just make sure it's all glued. I'm going to use the Sikaflex Tech grip, but I'm going to spread it very thin over the the top 2 centimeters of the PVC, and then just dip it in a bucket of the sand and coat it and then let it dry. See how we go. So I think it's a fairly simple process. Bit of acetone on paper towel, evaporates very quickly. Give it a rub all the way around the outside and the inside. It's similar to the activation chemicals they use with the plumber's glue for gluing PVC. That does it. Now we'll spread the glue. I'm going to put a glove on to spread the glue, because this stuff's crap to get off your fingers, and I'm just going to use my finger to move it around. So let's just do one. Got my glue here. Give it a good spread there, and then just with my finger bring it around as much as I can. Probably should have put the other glove on, it wasn't going to cost me anything. You know what to do the inside, I will put another glove on. There we go. So, do the inside, which I probably should have done first as well. Just move some bits around and then use your finger just to spread it. Doesn't have to be super neat. And make sure we've got glue all around the top. Okay, and then into the sand. It's going to look like that. So when she's sitting in the snake cage, it's just going to look just a little more natural than a block of PVC sticking up through it. So I'll do the others and let them dry while we're putting Substrate together. Now it's an expanding glue, so you can give it a couple of rotations in the sand as the glue starts to come through the sand, but look, looks pretty good. Once it's buried in, it'll look just that little bit more natural for us. Rightio, we've put our clay balls in. There, look, depth of that much, okay? Just to give some drainage and let the excess water drain away if the soil becomes too waterlogged. I'm now going to put in a whole watering can of water in there. It's about 9 litres. It just gives me a base level of moisture under the substrate, but it also lets me test the waterproofing of the enclosure before we go too far. So that's in there. I reckon that'll hold the 9 litres pretty easily. Just make sure it, because a lot of it soaks into the clay balls and then sits between them. Well, that's good moisture for the microorganisms and bacteria and cleanup crew as well. Okay, that's hit a good level already, and that's okay. So that's about 5 litres. So all good. Next thing we're going to do is lay down the pet mesh on top of it to form that barrier between the soil and the drainage. So we've got the sheet of pet mesh ready. It's longer than the enclosure and wider than the enclosure, just so that we can tuck it down in the edges, a bit like making a bed. Fold it over a bit so it doesn't project too far. Fold the corners around. Pretty much laughing. It looks like that. And then, now we'll go ahead and get our soil and mulch mix and put it in on top. Okay, we've got the garden soil and mulch. Start with the garden soil. It's a 25 litre bag, weighs over 10 kilos. Same with the mulch, but just that should give us enough coverage. Yeah, that'll be great. So give that a first spread over, just to hold the mesh in place. I'm not too worried about stuff getting up over the edges. Now the organic compost, same deal. mixing it all in. Now if you've got a bit too much in there, which I seem to have done, there's no problem with building up some hills on one side. Yeah, and you can use your furniture later to cover that up, but that's no problem. And it will settle, there's a lot of air in there at the moment. And that's quite moist, right? Once you've done that, get your vacuum cleaner and just clear all the crap out of the glass rails, and then you're ready for the next level. Right, now we're going to add the sand. I've pre-mixed 10 kilos of river sand with 5 kilos of red desert sand, just to change the colour a bit. That'll be the base, and then we'll add the red desert sand over the top of that. So again, and this is there's 15 kilos in that, so you can see how the enclosure gets quite heavy fairly quickly. So again, just spread that out over the soil and mulch. When we plant plants, we'll dig down to the soil and mulch. All the colours blend eventually. And then we get the red desert sand on top. This is quite fine, so we don't want too much of it because it will compact, whereas the river sand is quite coarse. There we go. I'll save a couple of kilos for dressing it up later. So again, just a little bit of a move around. Now the last thing to do is get our decorative gravel. So here's the decorative gravel, again Bunnings or a landscaping shop. You can see it's quite coarse. So again, it just gives you that stony desert look. You don't put it everywhere. Again, save some for decorating later. So maybe let's stop and get in and have a good look. There we go, that's our substrate, nice up close. So that's our base level. And you see how it sort of molds into the background a little bit. And then we'll work out how to decorate it. Being a desert enclosure, dry logs. I might do some fake rock up at the background just to give some height for the Stimson's python, and I'll put a basking rock in the back corner. So this is Sunny. This is going to be her enclosure, so maybe she should just have a little bit of a look. What do you reckon, Sunny? Love the way they check the painting. They think it's real trees to start with. She's had a basking rock like that in her old enclosure, so she's quite used to them, and she's also got a little cave underneath. What do you think, sweetheart? Is that going to be good?
So thanks for watching this episode on building the substrate, and see you in the next episode, which is planting the plants.